The recent floods in Pakistan claimed more than 1,500 lives, and the government estimates losses of around $30 billion. The food supply has also been endangered after wide swathes of agriculture land were affected. Wheat is planted mainly in Punjab, but wheat fields are also found in the province of Sindh, which was heavily affected by the floods.
The trains aren't running anymore after the floods damaged infrastructure here. It's devastating, not just for travelers, but also for the many porters who work the line stations. They've been jobless since the rain submerged large parts of Pakistan. How will I pay rent? Somehow I saved my family from the flood, brought them from my village to Karachi, thinking I would earn money and support my family. But I haven't been able to earn anything because trains aren't running. The deadly floods submerged a third of Pakistan. Farmers in affected regions don't know how they will feed their livestock. This grass has rotted because of the floods. It has turned black. It can't be fed to the livestock. That means that the animals will starve and die as a result. Around 700,000 head of cattle drowned during the floods alone, according to official estimates. The livelihood of many here wiped out. It's a catastrophe. Many are trying to sell their surviving livestock at the market, but no one is buying because there's no feed, or the little there is now too expensive. We have been destroyed by the floods. Our animals are dying. No one is buying them. We're helpless. We appeal to the government to buy these animals from us. We have nothing to eat. How are we going to feed our animals? People are desperate. The effects of the disaster will be felt for years. Pakistan not only needs billions to rebuild, it also needs hope.
My colleague Warda Imran joins me now. Speaking of hope, Warda, what more can you tell us about the destruction of the harvest and how it's impacting the lives of Pakistanis? Is there hope?
Well, I think that's a tricky question. Of course, there is hope, but I think more than that, there's also a very big sense of loss and devastation. People have lost their homes, they've lost the way they make income, they've lost their livelihood. A lot of people in rural areas have difficulties even accessing shelters where it's not, totally drained out or whatever. As you said, the estimated loss is over $30 billion, and prices that were already skyrocketing prior to the floods have now gone up 4 or 5-fold even further for tomatoes and onions that are so necessary for just households for dinner and lunch. And inflation and instability, political instability, has made it even more difficult. And so I definitely do think that there is hope, but I think a lot of work needs to be done to rebuild it.
So a confluence of factors there, but I wanted to zoom in on the agricultural industry. What has the catastrophe meant for Pakistan's agricultural industry?
Well, so Pakistan is mainly driven by agriculture. So a lot of the times, you know, how you assess how an economy is doing, you assess that with agriculture with Pakistan. Wheat is our main staple crop, and agriculture is over 19% of the GDP and employs almost 40% of labor. So as you can tell, that's a really important sector, and a little change, and this is huge, but even a little change can have devastating impacts on the way people move. And so when agriculture is impacted, the economy is going to have a hit.
Now, ahead of these floods, there were already worries about Pakistan's financial situation. Some were even saying it might be the next Sri Lanka. How is the government coping with this situation that's now gotten even worse?
Well, I think that's the biggest question, is how will we deal with this once we go forth? There's a bigger payment coming in December. I think it's in international bonds. And analysts and experts on ground predict that funding bodies like the IMF will step in. When they obviously do so, they come with their own kind of parameters of policy change, and there's always internal rift on how to react to these. But it seems that the growth aim that the government aimed for, I think earlier, was touching 3%, but now now it's a bit of a more sad outlook where it says that maybe even 2% would be difficult. But I think in terms of aid or relief, there has been a lot of positive outlook from countries in the region and funding bodies that are actually trying really hard to assist Pakistan in this way. So let's hope that it gets better then.
Thank you. Warda Imran there talking about the economic toll of the Pakistan floods.